G'day Spurs fans, how you all going? Paul the Hotspur Hippie here, the only psychedelic soccer show on the internet. As you may notice, it's a little bit darker today. It's a bit later in the day. I was sitting at home and no real ideas plopped from the sky to do a video today. I don't like to force it and just bung out a contrived one. It's got to be something that tickles my fancy a bit. And then lo, from up on the sky descended a Sean Butler sized angel with a video I just saw him do this morning about Tottenham's new data-driven approach, and it looks like the guy is excited about it. So this is, I'm just going to give my point of view about data-driven analytics as a cranky old geezer, a counterpoint. I like Sean a lot. I watch his Spurs talk show every day, so this isn't sort of any jab or anything like that. This is just my opinion, that's all. And I think Sean said it was exciting. I'm horrified. I'm horrified. Sean did his in one take. I'm going to do it in one take. I'm probably going to go off topic more than Sean, though. He kind of sticks to his guns. He's pretty good. I'm horrified, and I don't think it's the answer. And I'll try and explain a bit of why. And this is, I used to, I started working IT in 1990, early days of the internet and all that. So I'm not a complete ignoramus about these things, although I have moved away in the last 10 years from the technology side of things, but I still kind of get some concepts, And to me, this data-driven thing, my main philosophical feeling about it is it's inhuman, and I think it's a false promise. There's been many instances in the past where, mainly in the stock market, and also in gambling, where people claim to have these wonderful models that can make you lots of money, man. Whoa, instant riches. And what they tend to be is they tend to be models that can more and more match historical information. Through neural networks. There's a big phase of that, probably still based on neural networks these days. AI, they call it AI these days. It's not bloody intelligent, can't make a cup of tea. It's just a big fancy computer program, that's all it is. And time again, these models, often or sometimes, the ones you hear about, will have a period of success and then they'll fall off a cliff. That tends to be because just because you can come up with, let's just simply call it a formula for what has happened in the past, it might carry you through a little bit, and then it won't work anymore, because we live in a chaotic, thankfully, ever-changing world of variables. Let me give you the simplest example I can think of why data is rubbish is when you're watching a football match. If you look at it on Google, say the Tottenham Man United game, it will give you the odds, the chances of each team winning or a draw. Let's keep it simple. Let's say at 0-0, the whistle goes off. Manchester United have a 54% chance of winning. And that's based on how many times we've played them in the past, the scores. That's about it, really. There's whatever other gubbins they want to throw into it. But basically they're saying, Man United have beaten Tottenham, I think, 80 times, whereas we've beaten them 50 times. A few little fudge factors in there, and we're going to give you a percentage of 54% chance of Man United beating Tottenham. And I'm here to argue that that is completely 100% meaningless. It's just there for gambling, which seems to have taken over a lot of sport, and indeed goes in hand with a lot of these data-driven type exercises. Now, when you're watching the game, you'll see what happens. It will go, at some point, Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0, and we'll all get ecstatic because it's Pape Matar Sarr's debut goal, and it was a ripper, and it was set up by Kulusevski, who gets no data points because he didn't assist it. So all of a sudden now, Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. Let's look at the statistical chances now, and it'll probably then say Tottenham Hotspur's chance of winning is now 65%. You see what I'm saying here? It's not something that predicts the future. It only reacts to information that's put into it. And then as Tottenham Hotspur went 2-0 up, especially with about 7 minutes to go on the clock, that data model, this fancy statistical thing, wow, AI, now, hang on a minute, Tottenham have got a 98% chance of winning. You see what I'm saying? It's always a lagging indicator of what's happening. And I think that's true when you're looking at data in football. If you're trying to use it for football players, you could see, say for example, a guy scores on average a goal every game. You think, oh yeah, that's all right. And you might buy him, or if you're into gambling, which I'm definitely not, you might have a flutter, and they might have a dry spell for 5 games. So then you'll see the goals per game will start to decrease. So you go 0.9, 0.8. It's not telling you anything at all, because no one knows what's going to happen in the future, especially when you've got 22 people running around the pitch, chasing a round little football, trying to stick it in a box with a referee in the way. Anything can happen. Injuries can happen. Anything. I'm not here trying to pick Sean's video to bits by any means, because I'm not saying he's wrong. This is just, I don't think there's rights and wrongs about this. It's just a philosophical argument I'm having. My arm's getting a bit tired. I'll just rest it there. Oh, there we go. Bit of exposure. There we go. Hang on, I'll just pause it. Just rested my arm there for a second. I need a data-driven model to hold my elbows up sometimes. Getting so feeble. Sean mentioned examples in the past where embryonic teams or teams have tried to use an embryonic form of data modelling. Like I think he mentioned Swansea was one, Southampton, and I would just say, well, where are they now? They look like, to me, classic examples of where you've got a data model that kind of mimics what's happened. You could put the numbers in a computer and it will spit out numbers that are very similar to what has happened in the past, like game results or whatever, and maybe it kind of followed what was happening when they started using it. I don't know how long for, and then it just fell over. It fell to bits. It couldn't predict anything, because it never could. It was just an illusion. And the question I always have about these wonderful data-driven things, when you're talking about things like either football transfers or betting or the stock market, is if you had a foolproof data model, would you tell anyone about it? Why would you tell anyone about it? You could make all the money you wanted all by yourself. And in a footballing sense, what I think I'm getting at there is that if I knew surefire how to buy and sell players, and I had a bit of seed capital, then I could use my model, go and buy a little club, buy and sell players, trade, make money, sell the club, and end up, if this thing works, then in theory there's no reason why I shouldn't have enough money in about 10, 15 years time maybe to buy a Premier League club. That hasn't happened. And I don't think that will ever happen, because you will always fall over before you get there. So there's a little side note for you. Beware all these things that tell you how to make money on the internet, whether it's crypto, gambling, blah, blah, blah. It makes me sick sometimes, all this crap I see, especially when it's advertised before one of my videos. I can't stand that. But if it works so well, why are they telling you? They're telling you purely to get your money. That's it. All these data modelers, I'm not going to say con artists, because maybe they actually believe what they're peddling, but when it comes down to it, especially in football, it's a human game. And okay, I get it, maybe a data model could show you players that are doing stuff, but that only shows you what they're doing in the past. It tells you nothing about how coachable they are. It tells you nothing about how their body will stand up in the future. It will tell you nothing about how they will fit into a team of a squad of 19 different individuals or 24 different individuals. Will the personality clash? Will they work together? Will there be chemistry? Will there not? So I think it's fool's gold. And I'm seeing it more and more in the world where, people are you know, into all this AI, which isn't even AI. I believe it's ruining art, music. It's pervasive. Apps are everywhere. You know, you've even got an app on a smartwatch that tells you when to stand up. I mean, or when to drink a glass of water. I'm 51 years old. I tend to drink water when I'm thirsty. Hasn't let me down yet. I don't need an app to tell me to do that. So I find the whole world of data mining, I find it sad. I find it horrifying. I know it's inevitable, and it's just going to get more and more around the place. Um, and you know, it's one of those things that takes away from the humanity. I'm more for I want more art in the world and a little less science, because science has no soul, and art is all about soul. Uh, but anyway, thanks for watching. Bit off the topic, and go and watch Sean Butler's video actually, because if you like data, because I get it, you know, it's a, you know, if you've got a mathematical mind or whatever, data in football is probably something that's very interesting to you. You know, it's just not something that's interesting to me. I find it horrifying. Some people find it exciting, and the world keeps spinning round, and the sun will rise tomorrow. But thank you very much for watching. Peace and love, man. Peace and love, and come on, you Spurs.